So I'm going live both places. And hi, everybody. Welcome. It is Mediumship Monday. La, 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 la. And here we go. I think. Hi. Hi, everybody. Give me 1 second. My lips are killing me. Hang on 1 second. Okay, so this. Hi, Beth Ann. Bethany. Beth. This is the cleanest part of my whole house. So right now I'm getting ready to move, and it is a bananas. It's really, really bananas here. So there's a lot of stuff and a lot of places doing a lot of things that it shouldn't be doing. Matter of fact, one of them is lying on the floor, or laying on the floor. So today I was hoping to talk a little bit about the metaphysical and trauma. I think this is a really good subject, actually. It seems to be, I've written something about it for the next newsletter, which should be coming out Wednesday or Thursday. So if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, make sure you go to jannycook.com and it will ask you to give me your email address, and you'll be then set up for getting my ramblings, which are, I don't know what they are yet. I don't know. It's like, so if you want to give feedback on it, I'm open to all kinds of feedback, because without feedback, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing, and I wouldn't be able to adjust. So if I need to adjust, I need to know. The only way I can know is if you tell me. Okay. So maybe someday we're going to talk about how it's not mind reading. That's not what I do. There's some people who do think that I do mind read, but I don't. It is very, very different than that. It's mediumship. Mediumship is actually spirits coming and telling me things that you need to know, or things that will help you. Okay. So trauma, I think, is a big deal. And I think just coming to Earth is pretty traumatic, right? We come to Earth and we have spiritual trauma, we have emotional trauma, we have physical trauma, and we have mental trauma going on at all times in all different varying degrees. It could be a lot of trauma that you brought on yourself and I hate to even say that, by yourself, because it's not really brought yourself, just even being here. And that's kind of what what I'm going to be talking about in what I wrote, is just coming to Earth. You already then pick up ideas of who you are based on what other people tell you. And depending on who your family is, or how they supported you, or how they didn't support you, maybe your dad stayed, maybe your mom stayed, maybe they didn't, maybe they shouldn't have stayed, maybe they should have left. There could have been all different varying degrees of what happened will create different kinds of trauma within your experience. So I harp on this a lot, because I have a real understanding from the other side that unless you deal with what's going on in your life, you're not going to be able to kind of reach out and change what's happening with your connection to spirit. So if you don't really deal with what's going on or what has happened, and I use this example of being absolutely like brutally teased when I was a kid. I know it seems like ridiculous, right? But it absolutely happens. And how I forged this thought of myself that became the helper, or the taking care of other people instead of taking care of myself. And that's played itself out in many, many different arenas, including mediumship. And I always wonder, like, I wonder why me? Why did this happen to me? Why would spirit, universe, whatever you want, the oneness of everything, why would I have any of this? Why? Now, I want to make sure you understand this. Everybody can do what I do. You can connect to the people you love and have lost, 100%. for some reason, I can do it for everybody. So I can do it for everybody, but sometimes not really good for myself. I have a harder time listening for myself because it's, anyway, we could talk about that some other time. And I've spent a lot of time thinking about how, I have to see your thought over here. Saying, oh yeah. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about why I am here to do what I'm here and why I give messages and what does it look like and why. And so I realized something pretty big, and it's a different sort of movement. Many mediums you'll hear say, "Oh my God, I've been connected. I was seeing ghosts when I was 2. I saw that too, but I shut it all down. I turned it all off." And there's a story that goes behind that, which is another day. But what I'm saying is we do have the power to turn it off. And, not a but an and we do have the power to connect back to it. It is much harder to connect back to it when you've had multiple different traumas and life showing you time and time again that it's hard and it can be difficult, and it shows you that you're reinforcing these mental neural pathways, this neural net of how life can be difficult. So when you kind of get flipped back on and you're older, it's kind of like the Matrix, right? They normally, no, I just watched this show. I just watched the movie. It's like literally one of my favorite movies, The Matrix. And they normally, like when Neo, what is his name? Beautiful Keanu Reeves, when he is like, his character Neo is set free, they're like, normally we don't do this for older minds because they can't really handle it. And when he's like coming out of it, he's like, he's going to pop, he's going to die, right? That's what he says. He doesn't end up dying, right? He just ends up, Neo in the movie ends up he finally like understands, and it takes him a while. A lot of trial and tribulation goes on, and not believing in himself and not believing what other people tell him, and then believing what other people tell him, and then just this commitment. So what you have to do when you're turned back on, when you're older and you're trying to navigate what the metaphysical is, you have to deal with the trauma that got you here, whether it be lost loves, whether it be divorcing parents, whether it be whatever it be. It doesn't matter what it is, whether you moved away and you ran away and you came back and you're like, I don't really care what it is. What I care is that you actually take a look at it, learn from it, and decide how you can go through it and not make it be something that festers or you don't learn from. It is something that you could be learning from. Okay. So that's kind of what I was thinking along the lines of, I'm actually starting to formulate thoughts around that. What does it mean to be in spiritual pain? What does it mean to be in physical pain? What does it mean? How do those things stop you from connecting in a metaphysical way? So I just want to think that I want to know if anybody has any questions out there tonight. So I should have said that earlier, so you could be formulating questions if you had them. So I do know that we're getting more people here. So do you have any questions that you have you thought that you wanted to ask and you haven't had a chance to ask? Okay. I'm just going to let you just type them in at will. There's no rules here. Let's just say that there's a lot of just flexibility, no rules. So when we're really looking to begin to look at our trauma, I'm going to tell you it's very important, and I would really urge you, I would suggest strongly that you begin to get control of your vibration and frequency. Now, vibration and frequency is done in waves. I want you to think about, I've talked about this like a million years ago. In geometry, here we go. There's a thing called a sine wave. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and it goes down. It goes up and goes down. And in that sine wave is how we decide. That is actually the pattern of electricity. I want you to think about that in waves. Now I want to kind of overlay your vibration and frequency. When you have in your cells this you have a differential between the inner cell and the outer and the interstitial fluid. So what's outside of your body, what's outside of the cell, how they interact creates a little bit of a voltage. So you have this differential, you have this power, you have this you become a wave. If you begin to think of yourself as a wave or a frequency that's always emitting these waves and frequencies, it's always connecting to something. Now look, here's dig. This is what we're talking. This is why this is so important. Is this? If you are like, here we go, waves and frequencies, right? If you're emitting in these waves and frequencies and they're lower waves and frequencies, and it's just kind of going down here, you're like, and your talk and your story and you haven't dealt with any of your trauma is lower, then you're going to attract those vibrations of frequencies. You're going to attract the relationships that don't kind of sing to your soul, or that don't that turn sour after 5 or 10 years, or because you're emitting these beliefs that you have, and your body and your brain can do nothing but recreate that trauma in a different way. Now, if you can notice in your old life, you've like cycled and cycled and cycled, and you've noticed like, oh, well, that guy, gal that I dated, married, whatever, was in a long-term relationship with, they acted like this, but then my boss acted like that too. And I really, hang on. I'm seeing what you wrote, and I don't see it yet. I like that. Okay, Azara, I'm gonna share that in a minute. That's really perfect because that fits out really well with what I'm talking about. So when you get, this is like when you get in that lower vibration and frequency, you pull that in. But as you connect in the higher vibrations and frequencies, you begin to pull that in. But this is where I'm talking. If you haven't done the work to get through the pain of the trauma of your life, whether it be marriage, divorce, boyfriend, girlfriend, unplanned pregnancies. I mean, you name it, bosses. Oh my gosh, we go on and on about how you can have a boss that is very trying and very traumatic. And you begin to try and get up here in these higher realms and these higher vibrations and frequencies, but you don't believe it because you haven't done the work. You haven't done the work of settling down and parenting and being there for yourself. And dare I say, like, loving yourself in a way where you can, hi, Barbara. Barbara, are you in Indiana? Let's see. Oh, Beth, I didn't know that. Okay, so let's see here. It's interesting, Beth. I don't know. I got to tell you, you got to see Kissy for Reiki, because she is going to be, because what I just keep showing is like, I keep showing what they're showing me. I don't know who's showing me, so I'm just going to share, right? Is that I'm seeing like your chakras bulging. That's what I'm going to say. Like, you go here and you go there, and it's sort of like there's like, it continues to be in the minute. Now, I want to make sure that I'd also say that when spirit speaks, it's very, very subtle. It's an incredibly subtle conversation. I want to give you an example of that because I think it's really important. Okay, so I was wearing this necklace. I wore this necklace, and it was like the phases of the moon. Actually, I got it for my daughter, and she didn't wear it, so I stuck it on. And I was getting ready to go to my kids' fundraiser there at school, their color run, where you are now, the color run where you throw colored cornstarch, and I took it off, and I grabbed this necklace that I would never have picked. I was like, fine, I'll just wear this, right? So I grab it and I put it on, and I get to the place, and I'm like there for an hour. I don't have anything to do. And a friend's mother who's visiting from New York comes out of nowhere, walks up to me and says, "Oh my gosh, that necklace you have on is real," which I didn't know. And she said, I also bought the same exact necklace for my mother. And never in a million years would I have decided to wear that necklace. But me wearing it and her coming up to me shows that those two were matched. Like, she hopefully will take the time to see me before she goes back to New York. And I don't see her on here. So understand, like, that's how spirit will talk. So what I'm going to suggest is this, Beth, and give it a try and see what happens. Just play with this, because here's the harder part. I mean, there's so many different hard parts to life. And then trying to like get connected where you're actually open to the flow of universe is also like another, like, oh my gosh, am I doing this right? Oh my gosh, and nothing's happening. Oh, I need a bat. Okay, don't get a bat. It's difficult because what ends up happening is we don't trust it. So I want to reflect that back to you. The reason I have such a hard time hearing it for myself, it's not that I don't get messages for myself. That's not it at all. It's that I don't believe them. I don't believe them. So it's easier for me to give a message for you or anybody else in the whole entire world than it is for me to understand that spirit is coming to me. Just think about that for a second. It's very easy not to believe it. So if it's that way, and I know it for me, it's very easy for anybody to walk in this world and go, you know what? Spirit's not here. I just feel so alone and I don't know how to make it. And I'm so like overwhelmed. And how come I'm not cared about like I see other people cared about? We run away with these in our minds because our energy gets lower because this is what we've been taught. Now, I want to offer that this can be an addiction too. The lower thinking is an addiction that we need to really take a look at and work very hard. So here's the good news. You can work really hard at it. You can work really hard at it. And then as you work hard at it, you have to like exert a lot of energy, sort of like, going and working out. You got to like really get out in there and do your thing and like make it work. And you got to put energy and commitment. It's the same thing here. You need to put energy and commitment into yourself. So how do you begin to do that? You begin to do it by looking at your trauma first. And I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to say it again in a different way. Nobody's trauma is more important than yours. And yours isn't more important than somebody else's. It is just your experience. You have these moments, you've had these things. And since you are on this earth realm, you've experienced trauma and probably a ton of it. Whether it be feeling accepted or being loved or not being loved or having a job or not having a job or not believing spirit's talking to you. So when you are, it's really, really easy to think that there's somebody's trauma is bigger than yours. And that's very egoic thinking, but I want to take it out of the ego because the ego is what helps keeps you alive, right? Let's change the ego thing. It's two-dimensional thinking to be, I'm either the worst or I'm the best, or it can only be like, I'm totally connected. This happens a lot in the metaphysical world, which is a problem for me because I really want a lot of collaboration. Could you imagine if like all of the good mediums actually collaborated together? Oh my gosh. But nobody does. They really just say, I'm the better medium. I'm not here for you. I don't believe in you. I've actually had friends who are very good mediums be told by other mediums they've gone to retreats and said, why are you here? You're not even a medium. Like, ouch, how did anybody say that to somebody without getting slapped across their face? Oh, you're in Northern Michigan. What part of Northern Michigan are you from, Barbara? Okay, sorry. So you've got to get through the trauma to get to the connection. Or at least, you don't have to get through it. Maybe just become aware of it. Get a little curious about it. Try and find out how you're really gonna try and just don't be harsh with yourself. Because the one thing that we've really learned how to do is to be fearful and to be harsh with ourselves. And if you can begin to like take yourself by the hand Say, it's going to be okay. I'm going to make this. I'm just curious at how I do get my messages, how I do understand. But I need to be aware that this thing that happened, or that thing that happened, or this thing that happened, or the one other thing that happened, all of these things hold me back. So I want you to be thoughtful of what your trauma is when you're going into it. The other thing I'd like you to do, and Beth, I'm sorry, I hope you're still there. I don't know if you are. Is what? This goes in a different way than this thing goes. I'm going to be going up to Houghton, I think, in the end of August. I'm going to be up in Houghton. I didn't realize how far up Houghton was. Houghton is like way up at the top of the UP. That's going to be a lot of fun. So if anybody's going to be in Houghton around the 20th of August, I'm going to be up there Petoskey stone hunting. So checking out some Petoskey stones. So, okay, let's see here. All right, before you go to bed, one of the things I'd like you to do is to ask for your guides to come in. I want you to ask for your guides to come in and find out what you are, what's happening. Just ask for your guides. Actually, hang on. Now, let's back this up a second because I need to really actually say this. When you are looking to work on your pains, your past pains, your anything that's happened in life to you, looking at your trauma, I want you to ask for some angelic help. And this is how you want you to kind of ask for it. Like, angels, come in, help show me the path, help lead me on my next best thing to do. Show me the right way to go, but please make my knowing and my understanding as painless as possible. So I just want you to have the idea that you can ask that it be not a painful experience, because sometimes awakening can be a pretty brutal experience. And Janie, I just want to say, I saw your boys in the lake. I want to let you know that my other life, I'm a fish. I'm a fish in the water. So if you could totally invite me over, I will come. I will come swim in your lake. Okay. That's it. I got to make my kids dinner tonight. I don't have time to do messages, so I'm sorry about that. Ask for it to be help. Have your angels come in and assist you, and just know that I'm here for you. You guys, I'm doing one-on-one readings. Well, let me see here. Kim, are you on here? I don't know if you're on here. All right, I think I'm going to shoot for June 19th. I'm going to try and get a hold of Sal's tonight and make that for a group reading. So I do one-on-ones, I do groups, I do spiritual transformational coaching. I am looking forward to working with you. See light, be light, and peace until next week. Adios. Bye. Oh, thank you, Azara. So sweet. Have a wonderful night. Mwah. Bye.